It is indeed possible for electricians to hold licenses in multiple states and even internationally. Let's explore some examples, starting with multi-state licensing within the United States. The Electrical Licensing Coalition, or ELC, offers a Master Electrician Reciprocity License, known as MERL, which can allow electricians to hold licenses in up to 16 states. The Midwest Electrical Inspectors Conference, or MAKE, offers a reciprocal agreement for licensed electricians called RAIL, enabling electricians to hold licenses in Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan. Also, several states have reciprocity agreements with neighboring states, allowing electricians to work in both states with a single license. Now, let's consider multi-country licensing. The International Electrical Commission, or IC, offers the Certified Electrical Inspector Certification, abbreviated as CEI, which is recognized in over 100 countries. Some countries, such as Canada, have reciprocal agreements with the United States, allowing electricians to work in both countries with certain qualifications. So, how does an electrician obtain multi-state or international licenses? Typically, there are several steps. Firstly, electricians need to meet the education, experience, and examination requirements for each jurisdiction. Secondly, they must submit proof of licensure in their home state. Thirdly, they need to pay any required fees. Fourthly, electricians will likely undergo a background check and may need to meet other specific requirements. What are the benefits of holding multi-state or international licensing? Firstly, increased job opportunities become available. Secondly, electricians gain the ability to work on projects in multiple jurisdictions. Thirdly, their qualifications receive recognition by employers and clients. Fourthly, it enhances credibility and professionalism. It is very important to remember that licensing requirements and reciprocity agreements can vary significantly depending on the specific jurisdiction. Electricians should always consult with the relevant licensing authority to obtain the most up-to-date and accurate information. These governing bodies provide the details needed to ensure full compliance and proper accreditation. Electricians looking to expand their professional reach should always research the particular requirements of any state or country they are considering working in. This research should include confirming education requirements, exam specifications, fee structures, and any other prerequisites for licensure. Understanding the specific details can help avoid any issues down the road and facilitate a smooth and efficient licensing process. Electricians may find online resources helpful in identifying the requirements and procedures needed to obtain multi-state or international licenses. Websites hosted by licensing authorities or professional organizations often provide a wealth of information, including applications, study materials, and contact information for licensing board staff. Using these resources can help simplify the licensing process and ensure that all requirements are met. It is also worth noting that continuing education requirements may vary from one jurisdiction to another. Electricians who hold multi-state licenses should always be aware of the continuing education requirements in each state where they are licensed in order to maintain their active status. Failing to meet these requirements can result in the suspension or revocation of an electrician's license, so it is critical to stay informed and compliant. Additionally, the specific scopes of practice permitted under an electrical license may vary from one jurisdiction to another. Electricians should be aware of the limitations or restrictions that may apply to their license in a given state or country in order to avoid performing work that is outside of their authorized scope of practice. Performing unauthorized work can result in penalties or disciplinary actions, so it is essential to fully understand the scope of practice associated with each license held. Another important consideration is the potential for variations in electrical codes and standards from one jurisdiction to another. Electricians who work in multiple states or countries should be familiar with the applicable electrical codes and standards in each area to ensure that their work complies with local requirements. A National Electrical Code, or NEC, is widely adopted in the United States. However, some states or local jurisdictions may have amendments or additions to the NEC that must be followed. Similarly, international electrical codes and standards such as those published by the International Electrotechnical Commission, or IEC, may differ from those used in the United States, and electricians should be aware of these differences when working abroad. Obtaining multi-state or international licenses can present significant opportunities for electricians to expand their career prospects and increase their earning potential. However, it is important to approach the licensing process with careful planning and preparation in order to ensure a successful outcome. By thoroughly researching the requirements, diligently completing the necessary paperwork, and staying informed about ongoing changes to licensing regulations, electricians can navigate the complex world of multi-jurisdiction licensing and unlock new possibilities for professional growth. Finally, it is important to consider the ethical responsibilities that come with holding multi-state or international licenses. Electricians should always adhere to the highest standards of professionalism and integrity in their work and should be aware of any ethical codes or guidelines that may apply in the jurisdictions where they are licensed. Maintaining a strong ethical foundation is essential for building trust with clients and employers and for upholding the reputation of the electrical profession. Electricians should also be mindful of the potential legal liabilities that may arise from their work. Carrying adequate insurance coverage is important to protect against financial losses in the event of accidents or other unforeseen circumstances. Consulting with an attorney or insurance professional can help electricians understand their legal obligations and ensure that they have the necessary coverage in place. Furthermore, electricians should always prioritize safety in their work and should follow all applicable safety regulations and procedures. Using appropriate personal protective equipment, or PPE, and taking precautions to prevent electrical hazards are essential for protecting themselves and others from harm. Regular safety training and education can help electricians stay up to date on the latest safety practices and promote a culture of safety in the workplace. In conclusion, obtaining multi-state or international electrician licenses can be a rewarding endeavor that opens up new opportunities for professional advancement. However, it requires careful planning, preparation, and a commitment to ongoing learning and ethical conduct. By taking the time to understand the requirements, staying informed about changes to licensing regulations, and prioritizing safety and ethical behavior, electricians can navigate the complex world of multi-jurisdiction licensing and achieve their career goals. Remember to consult official sources and licensing boards for the most current and accurate information. This will help ensure that you meet all requirements and maintain compliance throughout your career. Pursuing these additional licenses can significantly enhance your professional standing and create pathways to new and exciting projects around the globe. Let's now delve into some specific aspects that electricians should consider when seeking licenses across different jurisdictions, starting with variations in electrical codes. Electrical codes are sets of regulations governing the design, installation, and maintenance of electrical systems. These codes aim to ensure the safety of people and property by establishing minimum standards for electrical work. While the National Electrical Code (NEC) is widely adopted in the United States, state and local jurisdictions may have their own modifications or additions to the NEC. These variations can arise from local conditions, specific needs, or historical practices. For example, some jurisdictions may have stricter requirements for wiring methods in certain types of buildings or may have additional regulations for renewable energy systems. Electricians working in multiple states must be familiar with the specific electrical codes in each jurisdiction to ensure compliance. Failure to comply with local codes can result in fines, penalties, or even the suspension or revocation of an electrician's license. To stay informed about code variations, electricians should consult with the relevant licensing authorities, attend code update courses, and subscribe to industry publications that provide summaries of code changes. Understanding these nuances will enable electricians to perform their work safely and effectively in diverse environments. Another important aspect to consider is the recognition of prior learning and experience. Many licensing boards offer pathways for electricians to receive credit for their prior education, training, and work experience. This can significantly reduce the time and cost required to obtain a license in a new jurisdiction. For example, electricians who have completed apprenticeship programs or have extensive work experience may be eligible to receive credit towards the required hours of training or experience in another state. To demonstrate prior learning and experience, electricians may need to submit transcripts, certificates of completion, letters of recommendation, and other supporting documentation. Licensing boards will typically review these materials and determine the amount of credit that can be granted. In some cases, electricians may also need to pass an examination to demonstrate their knowledge and skills. By leveraging prior learning and experience, electricians can streamline the licensing process and accelerate their career advancement. Continuing education requirements are another critical consideration for electricians seeking multi-state licenses. Most licensing boards require electricians to complete a certain number of continuing education hours each year to maintain their licenses. These continuing education courses are designed to keep electricians up to date on the latest codes, technologies, and industry best practices. The specific topics covered in continuing education courses may vary depending on the jurisdiction. However, common topics include code updates, safety practices, energy efficiency, and renewable energy systems. Electricians must carefully track their continuing education hours and ensure that they meet the requirements of each licensing board. Failure to comply with continuing education requirements can result in the suspension or revocation of an electrician's license. To find approved continuing education courses, electricians should consult with their licensing boards or professional organizations. Many online and in-person courses are available to meet the diverse needs of electricians. Now let's discuss the role of professional organizations in facilitating multi-state licensing. Several professional organizations, such as the Independent Electrical Contractors, or IC, and the National Electrical Contractors Association, or NECA, offer resources and support to electricians seeking licenses in multiple states. These organizations may provide information on licensing requirements, reciprocity agreements, and continuing education courses. They may also offer networking opportunities and advocacy efforts to promote the interests of electricians. By joining a professional organization, electricians can gain access to valuable resources and support that can help them navigate the complexities of multi-state licensing. These organizations can also provide a platform for electricians to share their experiences and learn from their peers. Building a strong professional network can be instrumental in advancing one's career and staying informed about industry trends. The legal and liability aspects of working across state lines are also important considerations. Electricians who work in multiple states must be aware of the legal and liability implications of their work. This includes understanding the laws and regulations governing electrical work in each jurisdiction, as well as the potential for legal claims arising from accidents or defective installations. Electricians should carry adequate insurance coverage to protect themselves against financial losses in the event of accidents or other unforeseen circumstances. They should also consult with an attorney to understand their legal rights and obligations. Furthermore, electricians should maintain detailed records of their work, including contracts, permits, inspections, and test results. These records can be invaluable in defending against legal claims. By being proactive in managing their legal and liability risks, electricians can minimize their exposure to potential financial losses. The role of technology in simplifying multi-state licensing is becoming increasingly significant. Online portals and databases are now available that provide electricians with easy access to licensing information, applications, and renewal procedures. These technologies can streamline the licensing process and reduce the administrative burden on electricians. For example, some states have implemented online systems that allow electricians to submit their license applications, track their continuing education hours, and renew their licenses electronically. These systems can save electricians time and money by eliminating the need to mail paper documents and visit licensing offices in person. Additionally, online forums and communities provide electricians with a platform to connect with their peers, share information, and ask questions about licensing requirements. As technology continues to evolve, it is likely that the multi-state licensing process will become even more streamlined and efficient. Let's explore the importance of understanding electrical codes and standards in different countries. When seeking international electrician licenses, a thorough grasp of international electrical codes and standards is essential. Organizations like the International Electrotechnical Commission, or IC, develop standards used in many countries outside the United States. These standards may differ significantly from the NEC in areas such as wiring methods, grounding techniques, and equipment requirements. Electricians must familiarize themselves with the applicable codes and standards in each country where they intend to work. This may involve taking courses, attending workshops, or consulting with experts in international electrical codes. Failure to comply with international codes can result in safety hazards, property damage, and legal liabilities. Furthermore, it is important to be aware of cultural differences that may impact electrical work in different countries. For example, work practices, communication styles, and regulatory enforcement may vary significantly from one country to another. Adapting to these cultural differences is essential for building trust with clients and colleagues and for ensuring the success of international projects. Finally, let's discuss the importance of language proficiency for international electricians. Effective communication is essential for electricians working in international settings. This includes the ability to read and understand technical documents, communicate with clients and colleagues, and participate in meetings and discussions. Electricians who are not proficient in a local language may face challenges in understanding instructions, interpreting codes, and coordinating their work with others. In some cases, licensing boards may require electricians to demonstrate language proficiency as a condition of licensure. Electricians should consider taking language courses or using translation tools to improve their communication skills. Furthermore, it is important to be aware of cultural nuances and communication styles. For example, direct communication may be valued in some cultures, while indirect communication may be preferred in others. Adapting to these cultural nuances can help electricians build rapport with others and avoid misunderstandings. By developing strong language skills, electricians can enhance their ability to work effectively in international settings.